Welcome to the Your Fitness Chick podcast. Become your best self. I'm your host, Abby Smiley Krause. I am a personal trainer, a wellness enthusiast, and I'm not gonna lie, a certified dog-obsessed human. This isn't just another fitness podcast. It's your wake-up call to level up your life. In this podcast, I'll be diving into everything from crushing your workouts to shifting your mindset, because being your best self isn't just about lifting weights, it's about lifting your life. Whether you're here to get fit, find inspiration, or just stop settling for an average life, you're in the right place. We're talking about tapping into your full potential, expanding your horizons, and building a life so good, you'll wonder why you didn't start sooner. So let's lace up, show up, and start making things happen. This isn't just a podcast. It's your permission slip to dream big, work hard, and create the life you've always wanted. Join me here every Tuesday for a fresh episode. Welcome to the Your Fitness Chick podcast. Become your best self. I'm Abby, your fitness chick, and I'm so excited to have a very, very special guest today, Adam Merino on. I'm sure your guys are going to love him as much as I do. He's just an awesome guy, inspirational. We're going to focus a little bit on mindset today and spread some positivity and hopefully inspire and uplift you today. So welcome, Adam. How are you?
Very good. Thank you. I'm very excited to be here and to talk to you. We always have fun.
We do. We'll have to maintain our professionalism since we're being recorded.
Right.
So that our listeners can really kind of get a grip on who you are, why don't you share with them a little bit about your background?
Yeah, so I was originally born in the Bay Area near San Francisco, and we moved to the Midwest so that my dad could go to school, actually, and be a pastor. And I really learned a lot from him. I didn't grow up like your typical person in the United States because my parents' background, they're gypsy. And so they lived the gypsy lifestyle when they were growing up. My mom used to tell fortunes, all that jazz. My dad didn't work. Yeah, our family doesn't believe in that. And so, but I wasn't raised that way because we became Christian right when I was born. I was baptized as a baby. We're Lutheran. And so I grew up like a regular Lutheran kid, but with gypsy values. So like dating wasn't allowed, like they're just more strict. And so it was a little bit different, but I did learn how important family is. I learned how to care about people from my dad. We lived overseas in Slovakia. And so as I've become a podcast coach, I definitely can attest to the fact that the reason I care so much about people is because my parents cared about me first. And they showed me how to care about others. And it just, any compliment that you want to give me, you truly do have to pass on to my folks. It's not me, it's them. And so learning more about people, helping them, figuring out what their needs are, and dealing in your network, the wellness and health and doing the hard things, we talked about before we got on the show today. It's okay. We're both not at 100%. And you know what? We're both doing our best to make sure that you don't know that, right? We're doing the hard things. And so, I love showing people how podcasts can leverage their business, how you can get the word out on what you're trying to do. I love your show, the tidbits, and the people that you have. I don't know why you're interviewing me. You have some really top-notch people on your show.
You're pretty top-notch. You are. You are. And that goes out to your parents, too. There you go.
Yes, for sure.
So podcasting has become such a huge thing. It really, really has. How did you run into podcasting? How did that kind of land in your lap? And when did you get started in it?
So 2016, I'm sitting at Buffalo Wild Wings with three other buddies, and
Okay.
we're just being guys. You would have walked by us and noticed how handsome I was, but then rolled your eyes. But you would have rolled your eyes at me out of the dumbness that I was saying, because I'm with my dudes and we're just being dudes watching the game. It was March Madness, so we're watching. I think Villanova won it all that year, and we're just watching the game. And Ben Affleck had just been announced that he's going to be playing Batman, so that's very a guy. He's got to talk about that. Oh, is he going to suck? How's Batman going to be now that Ben Affleck is? We're just talking. We're just guys at a bar. We're just talking and laughing. And we look around and everyone's laughing with us, that we're making them laugh. And we're like, hey, let's go back to our buddy's apartment. Let's grab one microphone because we don't know what to do. And then we'll sit in a circle around it and we'll hit record and then we'll play it back. And
See what
see.
it sounds like.
Yeah, and you know what happened? We all got headaches from laughing. You ever laugh so hard for so long you
Oh,
kind of get a headache?
I miss those
Yeah,
days.
it's enjoyable, right? It's like the best headache you can have. So we did that, and it's like, well, how are we cracking ourselves up? This was just a couple minutes ago. We know what was said, and it's still funny. So we started podcasting. We didn't know what we were doing, in the same sense that when I first talked to you, you didn't know what you were doing, right? Now you're kind of a pro, and you could probably help people and show them a couple things. But you did our first few meetings, we talking about rolling your eye. I was rolling my eyes at you, Abby. Come on.
I'm like, just be
Yeah,
patient.
no,
Just be patient.
no, you're fantastic. And so in 2016, though, we just didn't know what we didn't know. We just kept plugging along. But I realized then, once my dad wanted to start a show, and his show used to be called The Misfit Mentor, which I still love. It's such a cool name. Um, I realized that, hey, this is cool. My dad was kind of my first client, like showing him the ropes on, okay, you want to be on Spotify. You want to do it like this. Don't do it like this because it's not going to work. I've learned the hard way. Okay, well, cool. Now I wrote some stuff down and I have 25 steps, and I've actually taken you through all 25. And I learned by doing, which I want to point out, first of all, if you are trying to get healthy, if you are trying to do the things that you know you should be doing, right? I will say this in your journey: to fail forward. And here's what I mean by that: try the things, do the things, and then document what didn't work. But that's a learning process, which means you still moved forward, even though you quote unquote failed. You actually didn't. That's what I call failing forward or failing upward. My
Hmm.
dad literally falls up the stairs. I'll be watching TV with my mom, and I'll hear do 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 do, and my mom will be like, "Are you okay?" "Yep, fell up the stairs again." Well, that's what you need to do. Fall up the stairs. Yeah, you can fall, but look where you ended up. You're in a better spot. And that's one thing that
Right.
I want to point out is very, very important to do. You're not going to have all the answers. You still don't as a podcaster. Neither do I.
No.
Neither do
Yeah.
I. But look at where we're at. Look how many shows you've already done. Look at the people I've been able to help besides yourself even, right? And so
Hmm.
that's a huge thing, is you have to fail forward.
And so that's a really good segue into mindset that I want to talk about for a second, too, because I think people, if you look at the people who are just legends, who are just the ultimate success pillars, and that's like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, when we're talking about sports, because I know that's your vibe. Those people failed lots of times, but those are the things that people don't know, right? Until it's brought to the light. But that's what they use to propel themselves into great, enormous success. So I think just like you, every time I do something and I'm like, this is going to be epic. And then it's like, oh, not so much. I'm like, okay, well, what can I take from that? What was it? Was it the hashtags? Was it the lighting? Was it because I looked like crap that day? Was it not edited appropriately? So it's all about how you look at it from those
Did the
failures and
message not resonate the way you thought? Maybe it's not as
correct.
important. Maybe the listener doesn't care about not doing carbs. Maybe they you need to talk more about counting your macros, right?
Right.
Maybe that's it. Like, yeah, you have to dissect then, but that's also fun. That's part of the journey that you should enjoy, because if you don't enjoy it, then what are we doing?
Correct. And that's why most people give up. So when we're talking about mindset, because maintaining a positive mindset, I think especially in today's world, because missiles of negativity are coming at you from all directions. I mean, especially this year. Oh my gosh. So maintaining the right mindset, I believe, is the true foundation to success. What do you do personally, obviously, besides falling forward, to help yourself maintain a positive mindset?
So I'm going to tell you an interesting story, and this is very recent. So the studio that I am in is only about 4 minutes from my house. I love being here. I work out of here. My office is just like, you just can't see off camera. And the guy who owns the studio pops in from time to time, and we'll just talk. And the other day he mentioned, yeah, regarding XYZ, I was talking to my therapist, and they mentioned I should blah blah blah. And I said, do you like talking to your therapist? Are they local? And he said, oh yeah, they're great. Yep, they're right up the street. They're at XYZ location. I'm like, oh, I know right where that is. And yeah, the insurance covers it. And a light bulb went off. I have no real trauma to speak of, Abby. I promise. Like, I'm not an alcoholic. I don't struggle with like some of the things. My heart goes out to people that have real struggles. But I thought, I do have probably adult ADHD or ABCDEFG something, because sometimes what happens is I have a Zoom at 10 a.m. and a Zoom at 1 p.m. And that 3 hour gap, sometimes I'm just scrolling through maybe your Instagram reels. You got so many of them. I just get lost into stuff on Instagram, and I should be emailing some people back, researching on YouTube regarding podcasting, how to get better, how to be a better coach. And I find myself with ADD, right? And so I thought, you know what? It dawned on me that I could go for free. My insurance could cover it. And so I've started going, and I'm about a month in. I'm talking to a therapist Wednesday mornings, and it's been great. And so, speaking of mindset, I can rattle stuff off to her like, hey, this is what I struggled with this week in regarding keeping on time with doing the things that I know I should, even though I don't have something scheduled. Because I work for myself, I'm an entrepreneur. And so from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., sometimes I don't have meetings, but I shouldn't just watch Netflix or just scroll on Instagram for those 3 hours. That's not a good use of my time. And I will say this: talk to someone. It doesn't have to be a therapist, but there should be someone that you either are looking up to as a mentor, or someone who's in the trenches with you, who launched a business right when you did, or or something, a close cousin, a brother, sister, whatever it is. You should have someone that you can bounce ideas off and vent to, and they should be a positive person as well. Because to answer your question, I will say the one thing you can do is talk to someone who is positive. And so I talk to a therapist, and that really helps me, even though I'm not dealing with some of these hardcore things that I feel so terrible for, that these people go through day in and day out. I'll just be honest. I'm lucky. I don't have that. My parents are still together. I was raised wonderfully. I don't really drink because I don't like the taste. I'm not into drugs. I tried it and they didn't do anything. So luckily I just didn't do it anymore. So like I don't have like, oh, you know what I mean? And so just to talk about my day and to talk about, well, I wish I could do this better. That's really helpful.
Well, I think that's a really good point. And it's just the fact, too, that you have the desire to become better and to make changes. And I think there's so many people in this society, because our standards have lowered so significantly of being mediocre and average, that's become acceptable, that people actually, even though like when they watch, because for example, when I post a picture of myself out with my friend, you know, I'll get like tons of likes, but I post something about fitness and they're like, Who the hell cares about
Because they
that?
want to be out. They want to go out like you are. They see you in a nice dress, like, oh, you're out on the town. I want to be out on the town.
But I don't think it's just that. I think it's the fact that when people are scrolling through stuff that touches a nerve, if they're just a negative person because maybe they weren't raised as wonderfully as you, maybe they were raised in a very chaotic upbringing, maybe their parents were very combative and they just have this negative mindset, that when they scroll through Facebook, any kind of social media, and they're seeing some kind of a positive and inspirational, like, they're like, shut the hell up, like fitness, I'm gonna go eat a cupcake or whatever, because it's really deep rooting. It's touching a nerve down deep, maybe that they don't even realize consciously, that they know they could be better, that there's a fire somewhere down there that wants to be reignited to make themselves become who they were put on this earth to be. Right. And I think that, I think it's great that you're even trying to help yourself. So, the mindset it's such a complicated thing, but it's simple. It's the same thing that I talk about when I'm talking about weight loss. I say, it's simple. Is it easy? No, but it's simple because the formula is simple for the most part. So, when we're talking about positive mindset, that is a great outlet. But, maybe for somebody who doesn't have insurance, or, you kind of birds of a feather flock together. So maybe they don't have a positive tribe. I would say go to a bookstore, get some positive mindset books. So much is at our disposal on the internet. You can Google almost,
YouTube, Google, yeah.
you could Google, how do I have a better freaking mindset for free? And it's going to come up, but you have to find that desire or that fire deep down to even start the process, right?
So a couple of things on that. I will send you the link when it's live. But one of the new shows that I'm starting is with a partner of mine. Her name is Alora Lovelight. This is a different one. Yeah, no, this is a different one. So, and it's going to be on mindset, and we're going to dive deep into that with people who are trying to be influencers and have podcasts and do some of the things that you're doing, and just how to do them without pulling out your hair. As we've talked about, you have been in that process a little bit of pulling out your hair. It's just, and it's part of life. Obviously, I've pulled out all mine. It's a, it truly is part of life. But I think one thing when we're talking about mindset, another thing that I recommend doing is find something that you enjoy doing that isn't like detrimental. Like, not don't say, well, I think I'm gonna do something for me. I'm gonna eat an entire pepperoni pizza at 11 p.m. Not that. We all know that that isn't something healthy for you to do. But let's say you enjoy watching the History Channel or the Nature Channel or documentary on Netflix. That's not detrimental. That's learning something. What I'm saying is focus on something, even if it's at 3 p.m. Give yourself permission. If you're someone that makes your own schedule,
Mm-hmm.
I would say that this is what I learned. It's okay to plot out time on the calendar at 3 p.m. if you don't have a Zoom, if you don't have a meeting from 3 to 3:30, give yourself permission to do something like that, because the endorphins go off, and you're like, okay, you're in your time of doing something for you, and then guess what, at 3:30 you're more feel empowered to go do those emails, or could go do the research, or do the things that maybe you didn't want to do, but now you have the energy to. And so even though it's that in that 9 to 5 block, I like to do that. So I'll watch something on Netflix that is just for me, and I don't worry about feeling guilty because it's on the calendar. So time blocking, I think, can be huge for those that make your own schedule. Obviously, if you work a 9 to 5, it's different. And then I would say at 7 p.m., from 7 to 7:30, do that thing. But from 7:30 to 9 p.m., I'd I'd be looking up things on YouTube on the thing that you're trying to do. If you're trying to start a business, if you're trying to do something on the side, I would devote more time into that than just watching aimlessly on Netflix. But still do that. Still do that thing. Give yourself permission, because you'll drive yourself crazy if you go cold turkey. I'm never going to watch something enjoyable that I just want to watch again, or I'm not never going to have a cookie. One
Right.
cookie as opposed to a full pepperoni pizza at 11 p.m. There's a big difference. Make sure you have some carrots and celery as well if that cookie didn't do it for you. Whatever, make
Right.
yourself a protein shake. You can speak more to that obviously than me.
And
But people don't do that enough because they feel guilty, and I'm saying
right.
build it into your schedule and your mindset. That way it's okay and you can live a quote unquote normal life.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I call it recharging my pixie dust. So, like even if it's for 5 minutes, something that'll make me laugh because I love to laugh. I'm a little goofy
Yeah, you
girl.
post your memes.
I'm very silly. And so I think if we would laugh more as a nation, we'd be in a lot better shape. But anyway, recharging your pixie dust because you can never give from a cup that's half full, right? And so many people do feel guilty about doing stuff for themselves. But to be honest, if you are not, then the people that you think you're helping and that you are helping, but you're not able to give everything that you could because deep down, you're probably going to start becoming resentful because you don't have any time for yourself to keep your mind on the right path and fill your heart with joy and keep everything in balance. So definitely, I like that. Time block it, write it down, put it on the calendar, and
Hmm.
that way it becomes an appointment, right?
Exactly. That you don't feel guilty about. The brain is a weird thing.
Tell me about it. Try being a woman.
No thanks.
Have you ever seen that picture of a man's brain versus a woman's brain? Like when they're thinking about stuff, it shows a man's brain, it goes like from point A to point B. And then on a woman's brain, it goes like,
Yeah,
all these curly cues, like all the way around in all these different circles. That's about
exactly.
accurate.
Yeah.
So, when I started my podcast, my main goal is to help people because, I have had some trauma in my life, like most people have. And I have used it as fuel to become better. And I know what it's like to be in that dark place and it's not fun. And I think there's so many people, especially since COVID, that depression has hit an all-time high. And I felt really inspired to reach as many people as I can and impact people. And even if it's one person, to give them hope for whatever topic we're talking about that day, then it makes me feel good. So for people, everybody has a story, everybody has a message, and deep down, everybody has something that they're passionate about. For those people out there who are thinking, I could never have a podcast, I could never get on camera, I could never pull it together. I'm not educated enough. I'm not enough of an expert. I'm not an authoritative figure. I don't come from the right background. What would you say to those people who deep in their heart would like to share their story and spread a positive message to influence people, but don't think they have what it takes?
I would say all of those things that you said. Oh, I don't know this. I don't think I can do this. I would simply tell them, well, then you're right, and I have to get going to my next appointment. Because with that attitude, you're correct. And so what I would tell them first is, can you take a week and write down 10 ideas, which I did this with you, by the way. I need you to write down 10 ideas that you would want to talk about that would
Yeah.
become possibly podcast episodes. And in that time, I need you to change your mindset from I cannot to I can, because the limiting belief is very crippling. And I don't want to work with someone who just will continue to say that they can't do it, because here's what I'm afraid of: that pixie dust is going to rub off on me. I don't want that negative. I don't do well. I'm not strong enough. It
Yeah.
takes work to be positive. You don't just
Sure.
wake up and you're positive every day, right?
No.
That's another thing that you have to remember. It's work, and you know this. So you think I want to be around a negative client or a potential negative client? Like, that's not, I'll be honest. Like, I'm doing okay. I don't need another podcast client. I truly want, because I really want to help. And sure, extra money is great, but I'll be honest, I'm doing quite okay. Like, I am content. And so I have to maintain my energy. And so if that's truly what you say to me, then I have to stop you and say, look, write down 10 ideas that you think you're passionate about and work on changing your mindset. And then you get back to me when you have those ideas. And then I pin you down. How long do you think that will take you? And I'll check back with you. And they say, okay, 5 days or a week or 3 days. The real excited people say, well, hell, I'll get those tonight. Just hit me up tomorrow. I love those people, right? So
Mhm.
does that make sense?
It does. It does. But I also want people to realize that, if they are thinking that the dynamic of doing a podcast may not be as complicated as they think.
Oh, for sure.
You
It
know,
is.
does it take a lot of time? Yeah, it took actually more time than I thought it was
Yeah.
going to. I'm
And
gonna
I
lie.
told you that in the beginning.
And I'm like, no, I can do it. But I just like everybody, I have so much going on at one time. It gets a little overwhelming. But
Yeah.
the message I really wanted to spread here for people is that if they do doubt that I want them to just go, you know what? No, if she can do it, I can do it too. I may have to do a little bit of more work on the back end. I'm just wanting to inspire people to go, no, yeah, you can do it. You
Absolutely.
can.
Absolutely.
And but you got to get your mindset right, and you're going to have to do some work, but it's not as out of your grasp, as much out of your grasp as you might think. And if you have something really cool to share with people, you're doing a disservice by not doing it.
Exactly. Think of all the lives that you are not impacting.
Right.
Shame on you for
Yeah.
not, almost the mindset that I want you to have. Like, how could you not try this? And I'm here to help. I can show you the ropes. I can explain why this over that. I can help you get on Apple. Remember doing that together? That was a pain. But look, it's done, and all this stuff, your YouTube, like getting it all set up. Like, yeah, at the beginning it's not fun, but like once
Mhm.
it's taken care of and done, it's like, okay, great. Then we don't have to worry about it. And now we can focus on having good content and bringing in great guests like you've been doing. So
Right.
it is possible. It's definitely possible. I'm happy to help. I love having those conversations, crafting the 10 ideas. Oh, we could talk about this. We can do this. I love when you go live on your Mondays. Like, we've talked about ideas of comparing this to this. Let's try both. And you say what you like. Well, I like this energy bar. We've had those discussions. I love doing that. Whatever your niche is, I love talking through that. I have 3 clients that are in construction. I don't know anything about construction, but I love talking through ideas. Okay, well, what if you did this? And they're like, oh, yeah, I've never thought about that. Oh, man, I live for those moments. That's what I love doing.
And you make it really easy. And I wouldn't say easy, but you lay it out simple, simple like so that you can easily do it. You just have to do the work because I had no idea where to start, like no clue whatsoever. And you kind of break it down, put the training wheels on. So,
Because
we'll
I've done
definitely,
it. I've done it so many times. That's the only reason.
right.
And I know what it's like. And I'm a coach at heart. I coached basketball for 12 years. I love coaching people. I love saying, hey, do it like this and this, try it, and then get back to me. And then they do it, and they're like, oh my gosh, it worked well. Okay, yes. I love having those wins, those moments.
Well, we'll make sure to put your information in the show notes so that people can get a
Yes,
hold of you if they're interested in starting up a podcast. And anybody who is interested in more questions from the end user, you can reach out to me too. I'm
of
happy to
course.
answer any questions as well. So as we're starting to wind down here, Adam, you know, again, going back to people kind of living a mediocre, more average life. And if people are happy doing that, then I guess that's okay. But, every day I do strive to be a little bit better, just like you do. Fall forward. What can I learn from it? I did something just a little bit better today. That was great. That's a win. What are 3 tips that you would give listeners on how they can become their best self? Just 3 tips.
So, one, forgiveness. And the most important person to forgive is yourself because you are your toughest critic. And so you're going to think of the past automatically. When you're thinking of your better self, you're going to have that doubt that comes in and says, you're not worth it. That little devil on your shoulder is going to whisper, right? You're not good enough. You can say, yeah, I used to be. not good enough, but I forgive myself and I'm moving forward. That's the number one thing that I would say first. Number two is be okay with slow progress. In your realm, when you work with clients who are trying to lose weight and in 2 weeks they don't notice anything yet, I know you go through this, that it's okay. Let's talk about in 3 months how it will be. So what I would say is number two, be future focused. So it's a lot easier when you see that light at the end of the tunnel. It's a lot easier to go for that light than to worry about all the darkness that's a mile in front of you. Focus on what that is, because that gives you the dopamine too. So if dopamine is for me is having that look of a beach body and giving me that confidence, then every time it's 11 p.m. and I want to have pizza, I think about that moment, and that strikes me and says, no, 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 it's worth it to not have the pizza right now because I'm
Right.
future focused, right? So that's number two. And number three is to be vulnerable. What I learned is when I made a Facebook post that I was trying to get better and had a before and after pic, that I had like 300 likes. Well, that's very encouraging. And I'm not saying to do something just for likes. I'm not the guy for that. I'm not saying
Yes.
that. But if you make a Facebook post that technically normally gets about 17 likes, and then you make one and it gets 300, it is going to spur you a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And I was vulnerable. And so don't be afraid to tell people, hey, I have a 6-month plan to lose 50 pounds and have my body weight percentage be whatever percent. I don't know. That's something that they need to go to you on, not me. But, don't be afraid to tell someone that, because it's going to automatically kind of hold you accountable, where you sign a contract with yourself. Hey, I told James that I'm going to do this in 6 months. I can't not do it now. So it doesn't mean you have to pay a personal trainer. It doesn't mean you have to get into a program. However, I would recommend Abby, if you want to get into any kind of program, because she's been there, she knows what it's like. She's wonderful to work with. And so if you are wanting to put a plan together, step 4 that you didn't ask for is to get a hold of you.
Aw,
But
this is
those
why I
are
pay you so much money every month, Adam.
yeah, yeah. So so
So
those are the three things though that I would
I
say.
love that. So forgiveness, future focus, and vulnerability, and and me.
Yeah,
But
a 3.5.
vulnerability, yeah,
Yeah.
high five. Vulnerability, I think, is really important too, and that's why I went on, because I'm getting ready to do this contest, right? The show in
I so look up to you for
October,
that. I gotta tell you.
and I announced it last year because after I competed in '09, I'm like, I'm never freaking doing that again. Okay, because it takes so much, and it's a very expensive sport. Um, but anyway, when I decided that I was going to do it, I'm like, I'm going to announce it, because then I can't go back.
Yeah, you wrote a
And
contract with yourself.
that's right. And so I keep posting the pictures, and I'm doing that. And then when I want to eat a pizza, or when I want to do
Yeah,
something new that I think about the people who are looking up to me, because
like me.
I'm human. I like pizza. But I think about the people who are looking up to me. I also think about my ass being on stage with light shining on them. That helps. But that keeps me focused. So I agree with you. I did the exact same thing intentionally, because there were some times, I just kept getting all these things that was trying to make me lose my focus. And I'm just like, God, do I still really even want to freaking do this? I'm like, I have to.
Yeah,
I have to. I've put it out
100%.
there. So, Adam, what's the next rest of the year look? I can't talk today. What's the rest of the year look like for you, Adam? What's next for you? What's 2024 and 2025 got in store for you?
So I would say I've really come into my own with developing clients and focusing on the new ones as far as what their needs are. Some people want a lot of views because they want to get the word out. Some people want actually to make sales and they want the right guest. It just depends. And so being able to focus and getting better and better and honing in on my craft and launching shows. So we've launched Sports Idiot Nation. We've launched How It's Related with my cousin. So related because it's my cousin, and it's about music. Just working on projects for me that I enjoy. Podcasting with Influence is the podcast that my company, Influencer TV, has on how to podcast. So if you're starting a podcast, if you're have a few episodes in, or you're not quite sure how to get started, that's a show that I would definitely recommend. And then also, I'm excited. You're in Florida, and this past year I wasn't able to go, but at the first of the year of 2025 Podfest, I would love to get a group and definitely meet there in Orlando and just have a powwow and go out and maybe have some pizza. Like, that'll be our time that it's okay. Like,
After my show, I'll do it.
January 2025, at the end of January. That is a cool thing that you got to plan ahead. So it's still summertime 2024 now, but to plan ahead, to save up and get tickets and things like that, I'm working on and getting a big group to be able to go. So I'll keep you posted on that for sure.
Yeah, because I didn't get to go this past year either. I had too much.
You had a lot going. Yeah, for sure.
But I would love to go, and so we'll definitely have to do that.
Yep. So
well, Adam, thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy schedule. And you know what? I was just thinking, it's such a cool thought. I don't know if you've ever thought about it this way before. So you're up here at the top, right? And you have how many clients now?
30.
Let's say 30. Okay.
Yeah.
So some of those 30 people, for each group or each audience that they reach out to, you have impacted each and every single one of those people, because you're helping those 30 people reach their people. And that's a massive accomplishment. So kudos to you. I think you're awesome. Keep doing what you're doing. You've got really cool things coming ahead.
Hey, you too. I'm excited for you. When you say that you don't want to have pizza because of all the people that looked up to you, remember that I'm one of those people as well.
Aw, love you long time. All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Your Fitness Chick podcast. As always, I'm here to inspire, uplift, educate, and motivate you to become your best self. Hey, it's Abby, your fitness chick. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. Your support means the world to me and allows me to keep creating inspiring content just like this. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button so we can stay connected and motivated all week long. You can find me on all my social media platforms. Links are in the show notes, and be sure to visit my website at www.yourfitnesschick.com for more resources to help you crush your goals. A huge thank you to you, my listeners. You inspire me every single day. I'll catch you in the next episode.